I mean, people are talking about Clemson, Alabama, where they're being ranked. People are talking about North Carolina being 9-1. They're in the teams as opposed to a 2-loss LSU team who's going to be in the SEC championship game. So they have to put them at the position they're at because if they go on to beat Georgia, they're going to be in the college football playoff. Last night, I think pretty expected. Pretty expected. I don't want to say. I don't want to talk like out of pocket because I assume there's some college football programs that are pissed about the way this ranking goes. But this is kind of how I thought it would go, at least for the top 6. I guess 7 through 25, you can definitely have a conversation about. Teams are going to want to joust for better position for later in the year for bowl selection and everything like that. Hashtag PMS Twisted T CFB. Obviously, we do this every week alongside Twisted T, who is brand new partners. Tone Diggs, how many of these do you disagree with in the top 10? People are going to have to guess them with using the hashtag PMS Twisted T CFB. How many disagreements do you have in the top 10, Tone? Because I don't really have that many. I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are.
No, I mean there is a team, and you mentioned that I think potentially should be in the top 10 over maybe a team or two.
Okay, so how many? So 2. You're saying there's
as always. I will twist 2 of the teams.
Okay, so 2 teams being twisted or being flopped, or there's two spots being changed.
Flopped.
Okay, so there is 2 changes. It is a flop in position.
Yeah.
Use hashtag PMS Twisted T CFB. Guess which 2 are flipping in Tone Diggs' eyes. He will give the answer on Friday.
Yep.
If you get it right, you will win
$500, I believe.
2.
I believe it's. I think it's. That's
This
good
is
question.
your thing, Tone.
Come on, Tony.
No, this is.
Tone, this is your thing.
Pull this one out of the
This is
hat.
not my thing.
Tone, this is your thing.
Pull the rabbit out of the hat.
Read the
Tone's
thing.
Twisted Takes.
It's not on here.
It's not.
Bruce.
He's going to
Bruce.
switch Georgia and Utah, I bet.
Bruce.
Bruce,
No.
Utah got big wins over USC and a couple other big
Yeah,
ones. I mean,
sleep on 'em.
Utah has some big wins. The Pac-12 is fascinating because everybody thought it was all eyes on Oregon, USC. Which one of those teams might slip into the college football playoff if, the other teams lose in there, because the Pac-12 has a couple powerhouses. Then Washington beats Oregon in Oregon, breaking their home winning streak that I think was nationally renowned, and that kind of throws everything in turmoil. USC sitting at 7. Still, they got Notre Dame left on the schedule as well. They got the Pac-12 championship left on the schedule as well. So their strength of schedule remaining still pretty good. I picked USC week 4 to make it into the college football playoff strictly because I believe in stars, AJ. I believe if you get a lot of people that are very good, when the moment comes that they have to rise to the occasion, the reason why they are stars is because they do. That is why people know who they are. So I think if you get a culmination of those, and when it matters, they're going to win. It was ugly early. They weren't able to stop anybody. Then they take the loss to Utah, and everybody rolls them out. Now they're climbing back in it with a good strength of schedule left. Maybe USC is able to make a run. AJ, your initial thoughts on the top 10. Is this exactly how you saw it going? And all eyes on Ohio State, Michigan next weekend, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that matters. The undefeated teams are the top 4. Obviously, that looks about right to me. The rest of them, fight it out. Let's see who can win at the end.
Yeah, Ohio State, Michigan's next week. Big deal because
I have a hard time diving into the top 10 situation. I don't know why. I can't keep it all straight, man. There's so many different possibilities that could happen. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, that's why talk shows do it, because it's good conversation. There's a lot of things to fodder about, which this technically is. So, we can do it. But that's in Ohio State, right? That game, Michigan, because last year was in Michigan.
Yep.
So Ohio State hasn't played their best football yet. Everybody says they haven't played. Indiana, they fucking smoked this past weekend.
Crushed.
They won 71-19 over a team, 51-10 over a team. But the conversation is, they haven't played that good of football against bad competition. It's like what the scores indicate. Northwestern game, not great. Right, 40-mile-an-hour wind's not great.
Yep.
So the thought is, if Michigan loses to Ohio State, who's been the number 2 ranked team for the last 4 weeks in Ohio State, and Michigan's only loss is to number 2 Ohio State, and it's a close game, will Michigan also get into the CFP? Will there be 2 Big Ten teams? Or if LSU goes, which they're going into the SEC championship at 6, and they beat Georgia, Georgia's definitely still going to get in. LSU's going to get in because they're the SEC champion, which is supposedly the strongest one. Ohio State gets in. Is that 4th one Tennessee? Is that 4th one TCU, depending on how strong they think the Big 12 is? That's why it's also kind of spectacular, because we have no fucking idea what the committee, who's actually humans, are going to discuss in that one room and decide who's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars by playing in the college football playoff inevitably, and who's not.
Yeah, like if Georgia wins out and Tennessee's only losses to, Georgia, are they going to get in? But also if Michigan beats Ohio State. Like, are they going to kick Ohio State out if they don't make it to the Big Ten championship?
That's kind of seems like how the conversation's been
Probably.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one loss. Tennessee goes in over one loss Ohio State because they lost to Tennessee lost to number 1 and Ohio State lost to number 2.
AJ, that's kind of has that been the convo in Columbus? It's been the convo, whenever I show up at game day by people that have all the stats are like, oh, Ohio State hasn't looked that good. Everybody's saying Ohio State hasn't looked that good. I'm like, I started looking at scores. I'm like,
Yeah.
And their defense, for the most part, is way improved from what they were last year. They brought in Jim Knowles, the dudes. He's been great. I know they gave up a lot of rushing yards against Northwestern. That's what people were upset about.
if you look at Oklahoma State's defense with Knowles last year, without Knowles. If you look at Ohio State's defense last year, like 37th, I think, in the entire college, they've been up to top 5 with this guy. So whatever the mindset is that he's brought into it, he's definitely brought a good squad. But is that the conversation in Columbus that the Ohio State team hasn't played their best football yet? Because that seems to be the national convo. And I don't think it's a good convo for Ohio State because if they do lose to Michigan, everybody's going to be like, we've been saying it. They haven't been playing their best. And I'm like, have they?
I think they take it as a positive that they haven't played their best football yet and they're undefeated and they haven't really had too much of a test. So I think it's a positive. And I think people that are Ohio State fans, like, they expect them to win every game. So they're not too worried about where they are. They're, hey, if we take care of business, we're going to be in the playoff. We have a chance.
That's such an Ohio mentality.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, if we lose a game, fuck. You leave it up to somebody else, there's a chance we're not going to be in it. All right, so we just win every single game.
You don't have a room to argue. You don't have room to argue. If you're in a good spot now, hey, we take care of business, we're in, guys. Other than that, keep your mouth shut.
Darius, you remember when the BCS was the thing.
Yep.
So the NCAA actually sold its right to crown a champion for Division I. The champion for the NCAA was D1AA, which is now CFS, I believe.
FCS.
FCS. I believe they have that now. But the NCAA actually sold their right to declare a champion to the BCS committee. In the BCS, there was 5 of them. They were all that mattered. You get to a BCS game, the contract's big for your school, you get a lot of money. The exposure's big, you get a lot of that for your school. And they'll figure out what the national championship game is. This committee would pick 2 teams, and then all the other champions would play in these BCS games, and it was a big deal. Everybody hated it. Okay, everybody hated it because it's like we're letting people decide who's going to be the national champion, who's going to do that. Only 2 teams really get an opportunity. What's the deal? So the playoff has been something that people have been talking about forever. I mean, since I was in school. But making it 4 teams, and I wasn't a part of the college football media at the time, and not that I have any say now. I do not. I'm bottom of the totem pole. But I think I would have been rather loud. How the fuck was 4 teams? The answer when it's Power 5, 5 conferences. Okay, there's 5 conferences, and you're only given 4 spots. So automatically, one champion not going to be able to compete to be the champion. So it's not Power 5 then. Each year it's Power 4, maybe Power 2 with more people. I don't know how they didn't go with 5 with 3 at-large bids, where it was just 8, and then you just make that whole thing. It's going to 12 soon, which is good news. But I feel like this system has certainly been interesting for a long time. Why do you think that is? And do you enjoy the way it is, Darius?
No, I actually like the 4.
Really?
I feel like if you make it 12 now, I mean, what about some of these top guys? Like, do you play 2 more games if you're going to be a top 10 pick in the draft or first round pick?
I think they're going to move the season up. So I think they're going to start the season earlier. I think I don't know. This is just me listening to people that talk, but I've also heard different things from people that you would think would know the answer. I think they're going to eliminate an out-of-conference game that is normally a throwaway game.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get rid
That's
of.
good.
I believe they're going to get rid of one of those for some of these programs. I think, from what I've been told.
The SEC this week, a lot of their games they're playing just no
Yeah,
place.
cupcakes.
Yeah. I mean, Georgia played Kent State. Like, I don't know.
Kent State gave them problems,
They
too, which
did,
made us all think that Tennessee was going to be able to beat Georgia. And then, lo and behold, Georgia was like, can everybody relax? We're playing the Golden Flashes. Maybe we weren't, you know.
Excited.
You bring game day to Georgia, though,
Yeah.
and Tennessee's coming in, and it's like, hey, this team's going to beat us. Maybe the boys a little bit more in tune that particular week, and we can talk about 18 to 25-year-olds on that Georgia football team, with the quarterback being a 25-year-old. But college football is fascinating, man, honestly. And a lot of people think what you're saying, like, not too many games, but how many teams can really hang with the top?
Like, how many
1 and
elite
8.
teams are there truly?
Yeah, but if you get rid of one of those out-of-conference games, then one of the playoffs quarterfinal game for whatever one of
I
these.
guess, are they worried about if there's 12 that, like, the 12 versus 1 game is going to be a 60-point blowout? Is that what they're worried about?
Yeah.
this year.
So I guess that is a worry of people. But there's a lot of those games anyways already. Might as well make them worse something, you know?
But it's not 1 versus
agree.
12 because there's buys.
Yeah, so the top 4.
Top four get a bye?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different. Okay.
Where do they play, though? When they have 12, don't they
pretty
want
much
another
the
home
same.
game?
That first round is the home game. So or when there's 8 teams left, rather.
Yeah, because they set it up the other day.
Yeah.
I'm sitting, they had it up on the thing
Yes.
right in front of me right there. And I remember looking at it going, this would be fucking,
It's unbelievable.
this would be awesome if this was to be happening in a couple weeks or whatever, because they had it projected on what it would be. Yeah, 4 buys. Each, it's like a division.
Yeah,
Football.
exactly.
Just like college basketball. It's
exactly.
like this whole thing. And then the 4 had the buys that are already in there.
5 plays 12 and so on.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. And then those bowl games become the
games.
the quarterfinals, the semifinal, the whole thing.
How come when you're looking at those standings and you mentioned them, Clemson and North Carolina have lost to the same exact team, but what team is ranked?
Stop
low?
giving away the Twisted Tea.
Come on,
No,
Tony.
Jeez, Tony.
no, North Carolina's not in top 10, so I can't twist them.
But you
Well,
would.
you could.
You could add it in there. That could be a third move because you could.
Yeah.
12 to 2, 12 to 3.
Yeah, who says no?
Hey, Drake May's a baller.
Yeah.
Drake May might be on this show at some point.
Here we
Really?
go.
From what I've been told.
That'd be awesome.
Maybe there's a chance he comes on the show or whatever. That'd be cool. I think Patrick Peterson's going to be joining us
What?
here any moment.
Go.
LSU could go on a run.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
That would
remember
be
back in the
insane.
day? Everybody that was coming out of LSU?
Matt Flynn.
Dog.
Yeah.
He won a national
Hester.
championship with
That
him.
was the first. That was the first name. That
Hell yeah. He won a national championship.
was a problem.